Okay, so that was it goes by so fast. She has to cut me off because I'm like da 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 da. Da. Okay, so th- that's the most I can do right now, and then they'll get back to me in terms of how that goes, in terms of if I should even do anything. So that's supposed to be the commitment I made that if he was outside like that's sectioned. Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of would rather he's not there for 90 days, but I'm not a doctor. I probably don't get to right. So, and I as far as I know, but I don't have his medical record. He's never been admitted for a psychiatric that I know about that he believes he has. It's always about right. You just go, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how sick drug addicts get. Okay, but he told me when he took off from Faulkner Hospital that he was out of his mind and was hallucinating and stuff and didn't know what the heck he was doing. So, um, I don't know, man. I can get mad, but it's now approaching 24 hours. Like, shouldn't he be in a cooling off period? Like he seemed calmer this morning. He probably wasn't using yet, or he drank last night. But then he was. Remember I told you it was about 10:30. Like that's not a good sign. You're freezing all night long under a bridge, but you don't text me until 10:30 in the morning. That's not a good sign. Like he somehow got alcohol last night. I don't know what time the package stores close. But isn't it amazing how far a person will walk to get marijuana or alcohol? Yeah, just but can't walk. That's why he was supposed to walk to the dispensary. And it was already decided. But anyways, I can't go back in time. It's just forever going to be blamed on me, and I have to kind of distrust myself after last night. Um, I asked him if he was upset, if that's why he was talking to me like that, and that's what he said. That he was upset and angry, and then all of a sudden, blah. Some people might say, I guess I hate that phrase, but it's because he got caught. Like he literally went out and used, and then he was trying to hide it, even when he's high and drunk right now. Maybe he believed if another day went by that what's going to happen if another day goes by? Because why even contact me right now? But when people are drunk and high, they do weird shit. So, anyways, probably if he actually, but he's dealing with a whole bunch of stuff. He completely relapsed when he had over 60 days. He had no reason to be doing that. Yeah, just eventually, I'm sure you must get to the point where you know you're never going to stop using. You just completely lying to yourself, right? Like nobody believes you anymore that you're ever going to get well. Um, you're just completely concocting fights with your wife to take off. Like he literally attacked me, so I had to tell him to leave. Um, that's pretty dope sick. You're going, how are you that dope sick off of marijuana? And that quickly, like you had marijuana that morning. How are you that dope sick? Like, did you have drugs hidden in your backpack that I don't know about? Did you take all your Adderall and run out of your Adderall because you know you have an appointment with Nick on Friday? Um, I would say it's possible he took all his Adderall and he's out of it. And he's a complete drug addict. Um, I did. I saw my nephew flip out once, not on me, but I saw him flip out once because he didn't have his drugs. Um, so I called the police on him. He wasn't even mad because I go, "Do you need me to get you some help?" He goes, "Yeah, I guess I need some help." And then when I called the cops, he left, and I told him, I go, I asked him if he wanted me to call you, and he goes, "Yeah, I guess I need some help," but now he's taken off. Anyways, pretty much when you don't flip out on me, you can do no wrong. But maybe other people, I don't know if they've been the other side of it with it. That's how life works. Um, yeah, like I don't think it's better that they take off. I think it's better that he did that last night. I really do. I think that's better. And then this business today. So it's not a mysterious phone number. It's not Jamie Fitzsimmons. It's not internet whatever. Could you imagine like letting me believe that, but then you're typing to me right now that I'm a psycho and stuff and I'm in a psychosis? Why didn't you tell me where you were last year, Brian Buchanan? Yeah, just no shit, you were out of your mind. I'm sure. I don't know how long he stays like that. That's what I'm saying. You just go, how do you determine what's the real person, what's not? Because nobody will put him in a psych ward and tell me. Now I'm his wife. Are you going to tell me now? Like, is he going to go to a hospital and have a psychiatric him and then you call me, or you're going to call Denise? Like, it's the same thing as last year. So it doesn't even matter when you're married. Well, no, I haven't called and said, can I have him picked up? I haven't done that. I just asked him and he said he'd refuse it. And then what did he say? I'm a public annoyance and stuff. Eventually, probably business owners and shit call when a person's that sick. So he shouldn't have gone to Boston. Right. But I mean, the problem is I didn't want him doing that here. I like now that she knows, but I don't want him back here. If I was ever in another place again, you go, just do me a favor. If all of a sudden he just call an ambulance. Right. Like it seems like domestic violence, but he's mentally ill. Yeah, like it is domestic violence, but he's mentally ill. He has to go to a hospital, not the cops. Right. He can refuse it, but if I had called an ambulance last night, he probably would have gotten it. I don't think he would have refused an ambulance, but it just wasn't the time and place. Um, so it is what it is. He's now relapsed. So that's the end of his sobriety in our relationship. He recalls calling me an old cunt because I asked that. It's all in the text messages. Still, he's not sorry. I was acting like one. Okay. I'm in a psychosis. I go on the social media talking to myself. You knew all of that when you married me. You've known all of that since probably 2 weeks into courting me in 2023. So when you choose to stay with the person that you're saying I'm doing all this stuff, you're abusive. It doesn't matter what I'm doing that's fucked up. I would hope after a year and a half, people stop listening to that bullshit. Right? Just I'm trying to be nice in the text messages. Just I'm really sorry that it didn't work out, Brian. Um, what adults do when they want to get a divorce is they talk about it and make some sort of a plan. I don't have an address for you. You have a P.O. box. Does it sound mean to be talking to him like that? I don't fucking care. Okay? I don't care after the way I've been treated in the slew of text messages. That is the goddamn truth. That is how adults behave. So, right. Someone has got to just tell me, okay, the next time this happens, you need to call this number and go, hello, my husband just started texting me and he said he's in Harvard Square and he sounds mentally altered. He's mentally ill. Like I have to know his stuff. I have to know what his mental illness is because people do people when they don't have a right to do it. I already discussed it with them. Right. It's just when you're ready, Brian, you will call an ambulance. Otherwise, the public will do it because you'll be completely incoherent and on the ground. There's nothing I can do because you chose to go to Harvard and then you tell me you don't have money to come back here. And when you're acting like that, you should be far away from me. You still clearly are flipping out just like you did last night. It has nothing to do with anything I did because you're still doing it. Not I'm baiting you. You text me just like you did that night when you turned to me and went, I just want my phone back, bitch. So whatever it is you're on, whether it's mental illness, psychosis, or you're on something or both that you claim you're on, okay? You took 4 days to come out of that before we got married. And it's possible that the only reason you did it is because you had court the next day, not because you wanted to go back out with me. That was just unfortunately the course of events. And then I was the only person available to bail you out of jail. Okay. And then you were basically forced to marry me because that's how you talk. Not you're mentally ill and I'm trying to help you stay together. So you're not with Mary anymore. What are you doing? No, you're not with Mary. You left Mary last night. She's an old cunt. What are you doing? Getting drunk and high. Not I did something. You weren't drunk and high when you left here. You claim you weren't even drunk and high when you woke up this morning. Okay? And all I did was call an ambulance. Don't seek me out online. Okay? You admitted that you bait me to do it because you're sick. Whatever that is, you're sick. There's no doubt about it after realizing that Jamie Fitzsimmons is likely you. Okay? Or you're all that sick and you're like some sort of whacked out group of friends, according to Brian, where you all smoke meth, just like I said. He claims he supplies the meth to them. Get it? That's why they would be mad that I took him to a detox. They completely lost their shit because they thought they were going to lose their methamphetamines. I don't know if that's what he's using. I don't know how much that costs, but yeah, he makes no sense. He was a wicked, wicked meth head, but he's afraid of, what was it, benzos? Are they not benzos? I don't know that much about drug use. The methamphetamine's not benzos. Maybe it's not. She's still out, but I have to shut this off. They're going to look into it and get back to me. Because that's his medical. That's his medical and his mental health team. Is the same place I get my therapy. He's supposed to have an appointment tomorrow. I'm the person who takes care of all that. I don't even think he gets text notifications to his phone. I'll have to text him at some point to tell him it's an eye appointment that he doesn't even have to go to because he has 2 pairs of eyeglasses. Okay. Thus foreshowing again his caring for me. We were supposed to go to that appointment and he was going to ask them if I could get my eyes checked because my appointment was canceled and I can't get another one. So now the dude has 2 pair of glasses and Mary has 0. Everything is somebody else's fault. He's tired of being abused by me. Okay. So you want a divorce, right? Not nope and nope. He can't answer a question, which it seems like that's got something to do with when they talk to him, if he's going to get forcibly at least 3 days in a hospital. Okay. I don't know, at least a day or something. I shouldn't misspeak, but that's when you don't have a choice. You can't refuse the ambulance when they show up, Brian Buchanan, and you're incoherent. These text messages to me seem incoherent. I'm not an EMT. That's somebody else's job, not a cop or an EMT. You went to Harvard to get a tent. Okay. You're texting your wife to tell her that you went to Harvard to get a tent. Okay. And you're looking for the place that has blankets. Okay. Do you want your wife to meet you later on today since we were planning on leaving here on Thursday anyway? No. Stay there another night because it's cold. Bullshit. Do you want a divorce and are you using? Nope and nope. Okay. Are you with anyone? No. Okay. Now you're high as a giraffe's pussy. That's what I'm getting from this person. Okay, like he's Linda Blair. I have no way of knowing if he's by himself or not because clearly he's using, not he's sober. Okay, so he lies. Just know that when you ask him questions, ask him the same questions 4 or 5 times to get an actual answer. Just like I listened to when the doctor talked to him. I don't, that's for a doctor to determine if he knows he's lying or he's completely out of his mind. Okay. Um, do you recall? So that's because you were acting like one. Okay. So you recall calling me an old cunt? Okay. And then he still doesn't apologize for it. That's Brian. I got to say, that's Brian. Like, he's manipulated me over the course of a year and a half where he doesn't even apologize when he does stuff like that. So that's quite a rip-roaring bunch of nonsense coming into my telephone. Maybe he thinks that's what I do. I don't text him that stuff, do I? I usually put it on Facebook. I don't text it to him. Okay. Um, I personally think it's a cry for help because it makes no sense at all to me. Why are you still texting me when the relationship in your head is over? Why are you doing that? I know you go, I didn't even text him, I haven't texted or called. I don't know if that bothered him. He might not know because he shuts his phone off. And I don't know, maybe he shuts it off and tells himself that I'm texting and calling him. I don't know. But at first, he makes it seem like he wants, and yeah, that's the other thing. Because I asked him if he was using, and then I called the phone, okay, and he wouldn't answer it because he's drunk as a skunk. He wouldn't answer it. In my opinion, he sounded drunk. He wouldn't answer it at first. I had to call like 4 times. I go, can you answer the phone so I know it's you? Okay. And he sent 2 pictures of himself, still with the ring on, which is what he did when he flipped out and he was 4 days running around like that. It was terrible. Terrible. It was very difficult for me and probably everybody in Quincy. Is that when I went to the cops? I think it was. Because why would I go to the cops until he took off after Gavin? Okay. And then the cops said that Denise had to do it. Okay, well, Denise is his aunt, not his wife. Okay. I don't, that's what my question is. I don't know the answer to that. He changed it at Man at Health as emergency contact to me. I know that for a fact. So hopefully this isn't going to be Faulkner Hospital all over again. Denise doesn't answer her telephone. Brian has not spoken to her, as far as I know, since before we got married. I don't even know if she's living. Okay. He can't get in touch with his brother. He told me recently he was trying to get in touch with him a second time. He said that before we got married. Okay. So as far as I know, he doesn't even have a family member that will answer a phone when he calls and leaves messages. Okay. So when we went camping, I discovered that he did not know what my birthday was, and I told him. And then I asked him again a week later, and he still didn't remember. He might know now, okay, but he literally didn't know his own wife's birthday. Okay, and then when he was told it and asked a week later, he still didn't know. Right. He needs a psychiatric evaluation. He goes into these detox centers and tells them he's an alcoholic and that he's had a seizure. He told me he lies. He's never had a seizure from withdrawing from alcohol. He does it to get the drugs. So I asked for them to look in the medical record and see if he has a diagnosis of ADHD or anything that sounds like not someone knows all the things to say to get Adderall. Because he told me that's why he wants to see Nick to get Adderall. I don't know. People can be mentally ill and tell themselves that's why they're doing it because they don't like that they have a mental illness. But that's a wicked addictive drug. If he has to absolutely be on Adderall, he can't hold it in his hand. Absolutely can't. If he's got a wife or something, or someone's letting him live with them, he cannot hold his medication in his hands. After what I saw with the marijuana and then him admitting to me over prescribing himself, he can't. He absolutely cannot. So it's possible, like I said, he left here and just took a handful of Adderall and he's all out of his mind. Yeah, like that could be why he didn't sleep last night. I almost died last night. Wake up. You just go, wake up. Wake up from what? Yeah, just, I don't know what that is. Like misfirings in the brain or something, or just maybe when you're high. He does talk like that sometimes, but not insulting like that. But yeah, he does talk like that, like just weird words and stuff he thinks are funny. Um, yeah, just I think sometimes insults he thinks are funny too. Yeah. I don't. It's very hurtful to me. I got used to some of it, but you have to like tone him down. So whatever relationship he was in, or that's how his parents interacted. Yeah, that's not how loving people interact. Like it's weird too because then you when you have too many differences and the person doesn't want to constantly be told that that's not proper, it's hard. It's hard when you come from that much dysfunction and you don't want to change yourself. All right, what am I gonna do now? I don't wanna well, I don't want to overjudge myself because I really don't think I've had that much coffee today. But I didn't sleep at all. So that explains some of how I feel. Which is still better than yesterday. Uh-oh. Is this a light bulb system? Well, there's only one person drinking coffee now, so. I've been using a lot of these international coffees too, so I did notice that Brian drinks a lot of coffee too. I don't know if he prefers other drinks. He mentioned a couple times he didn't think he was drinking enough water. Oh, she's got these in a Keurig too, the hot chocolate. Huh. What's this one? Oh, that's decaf. Huh. Well, I wasn't going to do it, but I might as well. They got this thing that's not sugar free. Turn this thing on. All right, so I got my telehealth on. That was good. Yeah, it's starting to sink in a little bit. I'm probably going to end up crying some more. I'll get through it. I have so much crap going on in my life. It's just. All I ever wanted to know, and it's like I still don't have an answer to it, but I think I'm getting closer to it. All I ever wanted to know if this person actually wants to be with me and he's just mentally ill. Right. Before was he just has a drug problem, clearly. Is he just mentally ill? Like what the fuck's going on? Why do you keep abusing me and then accusing me of abusing you? The fuck? That's what happens in a toxic, unfortunately, because you get emotionally upset when a person won't stop abusing you, Brian. So I don't know if every relationship he's in that happens. That would be my opinion of it. Now that I just thought about it, that would be my total opinion of it. If he's of the mindset where every time he tries to have a relationship, the person ends up abusing him, it's because you're abusive. And you're doing a lot of projection of yourself onto others. I have a therapist and I have a diagnosis, and I don't take mind-altering drugs. I think they would tell me if I was in a psychosis. I would hope to God they'd be like, oh, you're suffering psychosis. Like what happens when a cop picks you up or an ambulance and takes you to a hospital, Brian. Not Mary's in a psychosis. And he just keeps talking about fucking wrestling. This is about wrestling. It's about the way that you talk to me. I don't care. You just go, it's about the way that you talk to me. I was talking about the chicks on a TV, and then I nicely was trying to talk to you, and you got mad at me. You literally went, are you actually going to try to talk to me after you were just belittling this entire thing? Yeah, dude, it's fucking women's wrestling. Yep. That's the mainstay importance of your life, women wrestling. I was critiquing their physique. I know you just go, does this dude not know anything I was doing online before I met him? I used to be jacked after New Mexico. That's part of the reason I'm bummed out. And now he's calling me a fucking old cunt. Christ. I don't think he actually realizes he's abusing me. I don't think he realizes. Yeah, just dude, you don't like me. Why are you talking to me like that? I'm a cute little berry. You just go, I might seem meaner now because I've been interacting with you for a year and a half. You've beaten me the fuck down. Not I've beaten you down. I pulled you up from the fucking gutter, dude. I told you, just go, how on earth is this person talking to me like this? He told me right after 2023, he had fucking body lice from being in Cambridge from not changing his clothes and bathing. Okay? How did I drag you down? It might be crack cocaine. Is Jerry with him? Jerry goes down there to Cambridge and shit. Maybe not Harvard. To go STEM. Is there a lot of people selling crack cocaine down there? I don't even know how much crack cocaine costs. Like some, I don't think people really know unless they do a drug test, I gotta say, but there are always the homeless people that think they know everything about everything and they can tell what drug someone's on. Half the time we're not even on drugs, we're just stressed out. But yeah, I don't really do that, but I try to figure out the drugs he usually uses. Yeah. Right. You just go, apparently he had a love affair with meth, but he's supposedly not proud of it. Okay. I could see that he does need the hotspot. I mentioned that. I didn't know it was still here. Um, Hopefully it's not lost because as of right now, I don't see it anywhere. Unless it's over in this business. Yeah, he left it over here. So I don't know how this is going to work. And he's got headphones here because clearly the way that he's acting, I can't be around him. He still seems very volatile and dangerous to me. Just like he was at the library. Yeah, like he told me that he had to get away from me because he wanted to punch me in the face. That is what he told me at the library during those 4 days. Okay, so when he did what he did last night, something within me, sometimes you think you're being too histrionic, I swear to God, and then you do regret it. It's almost like the power of God when Candy goes, are you sure that, because she probably goes, you realize he's going to relapse, right? And she probably felt bad because he's street homeless. If you were in the room and you also saw him those 4 days, like Jerry might have texted and said, yeah, really take him to the train because he did that for 4 days and then he still made up a thing to lure me outside from the shelter. And then when I just wanted my phone back, bitch, and took off. And he didn't even regret it. He was gone the entire night. So, right, you go, we're still at, is the only reason he took me to the spot in Braintree after that was because he knew he had court the next day. Was he worried that he was being arrested because he already knew about me going to the cops? Will he ever admit that? I doubt it. Was he worried that he was going to go to court for the sexual assault by coercion? Well, I mean, dude, no one said you had to marry me. Like, that is really whacked out. That is really whacked out to think you have to marry me to not go to a 90-day. Okay, because how long did you think you were going to have to be married to me? September, October. You were only married to me for 2 months. Seriously. What's the date? What's the date you got married? Oh, yeah. What's the date you got married, Brian? He doesn't know. I asked him the other day. Okay. All right, so I have another appointment. Oh, I just had that. Today's the 9th. All right, so let's see, since he stopped texting, what day did you get married? This is what my life is. This shouldn't be a person's life. I know. This shouldn't be a person's life. It's almost like if I knew that I knew this person in high school and he got a brain injury, or I knew him in another life or something. I was pondering that about why God would have this happen, but God isn't even having us stay together. So you go, did I know this person in another life? Like, why would I feel so obligated about this? Am I just sick? Am I codependent? Because I'm usually not like that. I mean, I could see people accusing me to some degree of being closed off because they don't understand me. I'm actually not. You'd have to be in a relationship with me and then come out and say I'm closed off. You don't know me in a private romantic relationship. So the things that this man is saying to me, you just go, hands up. It's not going to change me because you can't change my sort of like happiness within me. You can't change my childlike way. You can hurt me for a while. And I don't like becoming mean. And I can tell that he's doing that to me. Remember Greg Ryan and they would talk about all these girls he could fuck. And I just went, my face just must have completely dropped. I thought I was going to cry right at that second. It's just a moment when you realize something and you go, I can't do this. Right. But let's look at what I've done and what it's done to me. He's probably not going to answer. He may have blocked me, but he doesn't know what day he got married. That's how much of a fucking asshole you are, dude. Yep. The only reason you had over 60 days is because of me, not you. See how you did on your fucking own again last night and today? Right. You just can't admit when you fucked up. That very thing is why you're in the position you are in, friend. Why are you even fucking talking like that? Like, it's so weird when you don't know what mental illness is until it's right in your face. This is how you talk to your friends? Right. This is what a conversation is like when he says something fucked up, too. Every once in a while, he will just go, sorry. Like, every once in a while, he will admit that he just said something fucked up. Like the day of, was it Wheel of Fortune? When they were Price is Right, when they were saying something about Bangkok, and he goes, "Oh, can we take so and so?" And it was like some chick on it. Oh yeah, like that's what I'm saying. It could, some of it is, that's not really mental illness, but it's a person's personality that doesn't suit mine. Like he thought it would work with me, but what it's reflecting back, he doesn't like. I don't know, for some reason, the stuff he was doing in 2023 was different than the stuff he's doing now. He wasn't really doing that stuff where he was all the time checking out females, but we didn't have a TV in front of us either. Yeah. Some of the weird, cute, obnoxious stuff I thought was funny. This is not funny. This is just like uh, making me feel wicked and secure. I mean, was that me making up something when you directly called me an old cunt? Like when you say that stuff about Bangkok and a model and you're watching tits right in front of your wife, you're watching tits, right? That's not the same thing as going, you're an old cunt. To me, it is. To me, it's the same thing. It doesn't really matter. I always type this up. It doesn't really matter. It's for me to process what's going on because I've learned something where when you get to that level of fighting, you just go, what is this? Like, there's no lovey dovey, there's no sexual attraction, there's no lovey dovey. Like, you don't even miss your wife. You just slept side by side with me for an entire month. Not we were in a shelter. Okay. You just slept side by side for me for an entire month, and you wake up in the morning and you're not even fucking sorry and you don't even miss me. You want clothes for court. You don't have any clothes in court. They're at the shelter. See what I'm saying? But people don't go, wait a minute, wait a minute. And then he'll tell you that he means something else. And you go, does he? How many of those will he utter and type before you go, all right, you're angry? But like it's not like old cunt is probably unfortunately something a person might say or type, but you go, clothes, I need my clothes for court. I need money. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so he doesn't know. You've done this consistently since we met. You're severely paranoid, filled with anxiety and depression. You need medication, point blank. I got mine, you need yours. Okay, so you don't know. That would make him more upset when he realizes he doesn't know. Yeah. Is he talking to himself? No, stop, don't even reply. Okay, so he doesn't know. Think first. Yeah, he doesn't know. He doesn't remember again. And we just discussed it the other day and he didn't know. Should I ask him what day is my birthday? We'll see if we can get him to call an ambulance. It depends. If he has a baseline, he might have a baseline where he can't remember things. I haven't been told that by his doctors. That's what I'm talking about. Because how else are you going to know if a person's in a mental crisis? Get it? Okay. If he's never had a diagnosis before of cognitive decline, I've seen it in people. Yeah, some of them get real like that. It's scary. It's better when they have a diagnosis and they have to have stabilized housing. They have to have a much less stressful life and environment. Like like when do you cross the line between depressed and cognitive decline? I'm sure a psychiatrist knows how to test that. Okay. Like the bathing and the doing your laundry, cooking, washing dishes. I noticed he swept at least once unprompted. Yeah. Like sometimes he just doesn't think of things, but it doesn't mean he can't do it. He does. He can wash a dish. He's done that a couple times and he swept. He doesn't want to. He's a man. I don't care. I feed a man's ego. That's what I do. And usually you get something in return from it. So it's very disheartening that a man is not doing that. There's no appreciation. Like it's supposed to make him love his wife. I think that part of it goes beyond sexual attraction, where you begin to actually love your wife because she's clearly caring for you like that. And it's like the mother that you either had or never had, not you abuse the shit out of her because it's the mother you never had. All right, so now he does remember. Okay. And then he sends me pictures and shit. He does that stuff when we're supposedly not fighting too. You just go, fuck you too. I read what I typed, you know. Okay. Fuck you too. I read what I type, you know. I take every fucking heating and smile. You abuse mentally. I'm crammed on a train right now. I can't type. Talk to me whenever I feel like replying. How were you typing before? You don't want to yell all that shit on a train? It's a live stream. I'm sure I could put this thing on voice stuff and let it talk. And people just go, obviously, you know I do this. Like you're a superstar of some kind. That's why I get extra annoyed. Right. Just I take every fucking beating and smile you abuse mentally. That's why I asked about the divorce. Okay, this is how I talk to him because I can't fucking take it anymore. That's why I asked about the divorce, not more fighting. I'm sorry it didn't work out. I didn't want you to leave me or relapse. I'm sorry you feel so much angry towards me. And then he's abusing me with this mentally ill stuff. I just keep saying I'm sorry to everything he's accusing me to. That's all I'm doing. Like I'm sorry. I'll say it. Uh, This is all you. Chill out and stop listening to the voices in it head. You are not in reality at fucking all. I'm done for now. Stop. I can see you're typing. Just stop. You don't control me. You're not in this fucking room anymore. You're not giving me dick. You're not in this room anymore. Okay? So, good luck. There's nothing to take away from me. Right? If you go to the police, I'm never talking to you again. If you go on the Facebook, blah, 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 you called me an old cunt. Okay? You demanded money. I had to have you escorted out of here because clearly the way you're acting, you're on the second day of it, like at the library. You slept at a train station, okay? And had you just sort of like left and slept at a train station and didn't do what you did here last night, by the way, you could have just come right back. People do that shit all the time. Nobody is perfect. You just drive to the train station, sleep there, and come right back. That might have been what Candy was thinking at first. Okay, now it's another day of it. And he's using like even more stuff. So then you text, and then all you're doing is you're still doing it. You're not even sorry about what happened when I didn't do anything. Even if we had a regular argument, I mean, what the hell is this, Brian? You clearly wanted to go use. You clearly wanted to go use. I know you just go, I don't know what to tell you. Right. Like, I've explained it numerous times to him that he doesn't want to be with me, that it's not normal to be with someone and say all these things to me and be this abusive and take off and stuff. It's not normal. Right. You didn't really make me very happy half the time. You don't give a fuck about anyone but you. Right. I know that. I said that. I'm sorry I made you anything but happy. Right. I just said that. So you have comprehension problems. That's what I'm saying. Right. You didn't make me happy. Right. So that's why we're getting a divorce, not I did something. You're just not happy in the marriage. Okay? The first adult thing that the person has texted since I met him. That's all you can do. It's probably something like he can't get over the fact that the relationship didn't work. It's weird, but I explained some of it that I thought he's probably transferring from his mother. He actually doesn't like feeling any type of guilt about what he did, and he can't, like, he sort of can't believe that he like basically did this just to drink that day. He can't believe it, even though he says it. For some reason, it's bothering him. If he's too mentally ill to have a relationship, that could be bothering him. I don't think he made a lot of efforts to stop abusing me. No. It's a little bit early to just completely give up on it. That's what the extra psychotherapy and stuff is for. That's why he was told to go to a hospital. Like, it's almost like a person who's never been diagnosed and never takes medication. He's going to give up his wife because he won't accept that he's mentally ill, and he needs to have a psych admit, not a detox. And like, it's like this. If he doesn't like this and he doesn't agree with me, this has been going on for a year and a half. You married me. Just go away. You're texting me. I asked you two questions because I'm concerned about you to see how bad your mind is. And then I'm going to have to text you your two appointments because I'm a terrible, awful fucking person. Okay. You're right. You didn't, and you still not. Okay. This is what I wanted to hear. I knew that I wasn't making him happy. It's just a person I can't get rid of. It's almost like Al. Yeah, like I could tell obviously that I was making you happy, dude. I know that. Um, you're never going to be able to see things from my point of view, and that's fine because you're a drug addict, and in my opinion, you're mentally ill and you have a lot of problems. You're just completely narcissistic and locked into yourself. Um, it's just how you could actually apparently court a woman and marry her, and you have no caring for me whatsoever. None. It's very, very upsetting. Extremely upsetting. So it's probably not really a good idea for on second thought with this stuff for any of his medical or psychiatric decisions to be made by me. He seems like he can communicate pretty well. Maybe he was just in like a wicked supity duper denial about why he did all this. Yeah, I mean, it sucks when someone is that drug addicted and drunk and whatever his psychiatric is. And then he's had this much sobriety and just he's clearly been in a torment because he knows that he feels nothing for me. You can just tell, just you can just tell that a man is not interested in you at all, sexually or nothing. It's like it's like a terrible situation to be in. If you that ever happens to you, you really got to get the person to break up with you, right? Like I'm not a big fan of this business about depression. You're so depressed you don't want to fuck. I really find that difficult to believe. Like you need to break up because yeah, you're depressed and you're going to be made more depressed because you can see that you have no attraction to your wife. I think that's going to make you more depressed. I remember when Al and I were texting when we had to have that conversation. Yeah, divorce isn't fun. It's kind of like similar to this, but like we never ever had a romance. me and Brian. But divorce is not a fun thing. I think it's really better not to get into fighting. I really do. Some people don't understand it. Alfred didn't like it either, and I'm sure he's probably happy he's divorced now. Uh, I don't know if it's the men in particular that do it. Right. So expect that. They don't want to be with you, but they just go back and forth like that. They just don't, they cannot handle a divorce well. I don't know when this guy, it was, I don't know, the third day of courting me, he decided he didn't want to be with me. I told you, I don't think he ever wanted to be with me, but he seemed a lot nicer and happier in 2023. So whatever happened when he left Faulkner Hospital, he just decided that day not to be with me. I feel like he died that day. I've been saying that. I do. I feel like he died that day at Faulkner Hospital. Um, when he came back to Quincy in 2024, nothing was the same. Nothing. It's almost like it's not even the same person. Like, do you have a photo ID? Um, he just doesn't even seem like the same person. Um, like I said, he would make a couple of little comments, but most of it was funny. But like I said, a person that high and drunk isn't a person. But he wasn't acting like this either. Just, I guess he probably acted like that when I wasn't around because I would sort of come and go back and forth. Or were we getting in fights and then I'd leave? Yeah, I think he was. That is true. He would say weird shit and I'd leave. So maybe he thought that was going to be our relationship or something. I don't know when all the screaming and yelling and stuff happened. Um, but maybe because maybe he doesn't understand that he's the drug addict that was doing this to me in 2023. I think that's what he doesn't understand. And like for some reason, something that's going on with me currently, it's like I don't know if he's experiencing what I went through, what he did to me in 2023. He keeps talking about just dumping him off and just leaving him. He did it to me about 47 times in 2023. He left me on Pond Street in Quincy when he got out of Gavin. Okay. I remember crying in the back patio of the shelter. Some people remember things, which is helpful to me because they'd probably remind me if I could talk to them. And then he said some fucked up shit at the library, and I said I was going back to the shelter. Remember that text exchange because Mike called, and he just didn't come back to the shelter. That's when he took off for 4 days, and he was mad that I took the cigarette stuff. After a while, yeah. I'm sure, like, say that you were in one of these for a long time. I, I'm thinking he explained that this is what happened to that person that he was with. But they were not happy. They shouldn't have been together anyway. Supposedly it was a friend of his and they used to all hang out. Some of that is because of their abuse, obviously, but she ended up going out with the other guy. Um, so I'm not saying that, but you could still be like doing this and meet another person, and they might actually understand what you're going through. It just depends. I'm not really at that point quite yet, but if I stayed with the person like that, yeah, after a while, you'd be like, this is the deal. Like, it's basically just, I obligated myself to this person. We don't even, we don't sleep together. We don't have like relations. Um, right. It's just, every once in a while he flips out and I have to call an ambulance and he goes to a hospital, just like Jen. My therapist asked me about that. She goes, after everything you've done and you offered to provide to like help him with his appointments and stuff, and he didn't have to marry you. Exactly. That was, he insisted that we get married. Right. So I felt it was because he wanted me to have the ability to section him. Whatever they call it when an ambulance comes. I don't want to screw up terms. Sometimes a person just needs to go for a day. And sometimes they go for 3 days, sometimes they go for a week, sometimes they go for a month, sometimes they go for 3 months. It just depends. Yeah, that's for the doctors to decide, but it is. It's like continuous. It's all the like I shouldn't say all the time, but it's every so often Jen goes. I'm sure she doesn't like it either. Oop. I'm gonna do this in case she comes in while I'm gone because I don't want to be like thinking I set up a spy machine. I would assume he's probably on the way to Braintree, even though it's only 6 o'clock. Because he doesn't have any money for the train. That's why he can't come back up here. Not he was actually trying to hide the fact that he was using from me. Okay, so now you're lying to me. So that's something I did. Fantastic. Okay. That's why you cross the fight. Oh, it's good in the upper pocket. Okay. So that was good. Well, it's good for Brian. It's not exactly good for Mary, but Brian doesn't have to worry about that. People make mistakes. I call it a mistake. I don't want to get into a fight about it. That's why I'm not talking to him. I have the right to have my own thoughts and opinions about my life and my feelings. I feel it was a mistake. The entire relationship for me has been a struggle. It's been very emotionally upsetting to me. So I explained to him in the text that ever since he left Faulkner Hospital, I have been different. So I haven't been myself since he took off from Faulkner Hospital because it never made sense to me. It was probably, get the person to on since he got out of Gavin, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's been going on since he got out of Gavin. That wasn't going on before he went to Gavin. So that's when he became sober. He sobered up for the first time since I've known him, and he realized he didn't want to be with me. When we sat on the bench outside of Faulkner Hospital, he said to me while hold my hand, we'd stare into each other's eyes, and he said, "Your boyfriend's going away for a while." I found out this year he doesn't even recall these conversations we had because he was so out of his mind. He wasn't on his medication and he was using heavily drugs and alcohol. That's not a person. He doesn't have to stay obligated to that. Over the process of being here, those conversations have come up again where he doesn't recall things. They have no significance to him. And that was sort of the basis for my feeling that I was in love with him and wanted to be with him. In particular, when he said he didn't remember the marriage proposal at the 80s concert and that I made him want to live again and thank you. He never talks to me like that anymore. So, right, he admitted finally that in the text that I haven't been making him happy. Where before he would always argue with me that I was making him happy. That he usually doesn't bathe and change his clothes and stuff. But then just recently he explained doing all the things with his beard and stuff, that's what he does when he's in recovery. So he was doing that apparently when we weren't together. So that is not because of me. Okay, so whatever happened there, it doesn't have to be an argument. So he's probably right that he should have just gone to the halfway house. I don't know if he was having conversations with other people and not really having those conversations with me. He didn't have enough sobriety, maybe. So When I picked him up at Gavin, he seemed kind of like that. I do remember sitting on the bench and holding hands and stuff. So maybe he was still kind of like that when we met back up again in 2024, but it hasn't been like that in quite a while. Um, so, right, ever since he got sober. So when he's sober, he doesn't want to be with me. He wouldn't know that other than having, maybe he didn't think 3 weeks was going to be enough sobriety. You would think that when he was sober for those 5 months, that whatever was going on with him, he missed me somehow or something. He repeatedly told me when he ended up in Quincy Center that it was because the police arrested him. That's what he kept telling me, that we would have never met back up again. He didn't come to Quincy to meet back up with me. That's what he was telling me. So, right, he's never had an adult relationship sober before, so he doesn't know really how that goes. I don't think he's really familiar with adult sexual attraction, in my opinion, to not realize he wasn't attracted to me. There was a multitude of excuses for that too, so hopefully he's coming to terms with that too. So, well, at first it just seems like the person is flipping out and they want to use. He's stating it that it's not that it's just not working out the relationship in his own way. That's what he's saying. It doesn't have to be all these bad things about me, but I guess breaking up is hard to do. Really trying not to be doing that. It's been difficult for me. So, anyways. That's what I said to him when we met back up at the library. Apparently, he was having other conversations with Jerry. I don't know if they were using together or something. I don't know what that was, but I was pretty, what do you call it? What's the word? Stoic when he showed up at the library. Just, I don't think he showed up there to talk to me. He had been hanging out with this guy, Sheen, drinking, and Shane was letting him stay in a hotel that he got through the Salvation Army. So I don't think he thought he knew I was in the library that day because he had been around it. I think he was probably avoiding me, or just I wasn't even a thought in his head. So, anyways, right, just he said at that time that he's too fucked up to have a relationship. I'm not sure if that's exactly true. I have no way of knowing that. Just because someone can't have a relationship with you doesn't mean they're too fucked up to have a relationship. So, well, his idea of sober is similar to other people. So finding someone of like mind, I think, is important. People that also smoke marijuana and stuff like that. He knows that I just don't like drug use at all, which is not psychiatric meds, by the way. I just don't like drug use, even marijuana. And just like I said, the level of it that he's using with the alcohol. So I guess for closure and for him to move on with his recovery, I just have to allow it and stop arguing about the stuff that he's saying and just worry about myself moving on when you know a person doesn't want to be with you. So everything that's occurred from last night, right, doesn't match up to a person who was even sort of like actually upset about what happened. Um, Especially, I guess that I may have told him to go to a shelter, yeah, but I guess the part about why we wouldn't just meet up tonight or something. And then he kept insisting about meeting at Manad Health because there are things he needs. He does have to have that tot spot. I don't know how we're going to fashion that. He has an appointment Thursday and Friday. Right. I could show up at Manad Health another day and just leave the stuff there with one of his providers. We don't have to actually speak for that. I'm not really ready for that, to be honest. I'm not really ready for that. So it's too much for me emotionally. So I do understand he needs that. He's not getting any more money from me. I explained how a divorce works. I don't feel that I owe him any money. He's still pretty much in the hole in terms of money paid out to him. So if he wants to get an attorney and sue me and he has some way to line item, some way I have his money, I don't have $200 to give him. He's asking me for $200. He gets paid again on the 17th. I got paid yesterday. Brian did not get paid, so I don't know what that is. He put, what did he put in there? 300? Okay. Right, but I was fronting all of his tobacco and marijuana when he had no income. Okay, so, and he does not have a SNAP food card. This is the first month I've gotten both of us SNAP food. We didn't ever get both of us SNAP food until yesterday, so I was fronting all of his food and his clothing. So it seems sort of made up because he wants money for whatever he's doing. So I know, just, and give me all the money in your purse. Yeah, I mean, in a sense, it's like, see how that's what you care about? Okay. You didn't even care about your clothes. You wanted money for your marijuana, and then you wanted all the money I had. Thank God I only took out another 20. So I don't have any more cash money. I have some change. It's in a house account. I took my entire money out and stuck it in my house account. He knows that. That money doesn't come out of there. He has convinced me to take it out once or twice, but I'm not supposed to be doing that. And I'm moving to another state. He's in Massachusetts. He needs to be a little bit more reasonable about what he's actually talking about. He knows he can get money all over the place. He panhandles. He doesn't even pay for the train. It's in the text messages. I pay for trains. I'm also out an airline ticket because he was asked several times about if I should book it. That's another $89 plus tax. Okay, so try to be reasonable. Sneakers were bought for him, right? Just clothing. A medicine bag was bought for him. So that multiple loads of laundry. A lot of laundry. Even though a majority of it's mine. Towels. So I know he doesn't want to end up living in the thing again. So that's not a reason to suddenly then contact me again. Right? Because that doesn't make any sense. I explained it. That's not, I don't make any sense. All due respect. If you don't want to sleep outside, why are you bothering getting a tent and blankets? And then when I suggest being outside with you tonight, you make up another excuse because you're already drunk and high at that point and you were trying to hide it from me. So I guess, which is refreshing compared to the last time where I was blamed for a relapse. So it's called an orchestrated fight that I explained to people many times has nothing to do with wrestling. Just like pointing an umbrella to walk this way, and then I didn't say anything was an excuse to walk over there away from me. One of the times where he walked and left and went to the library, he told me specifically the day, I think it was the day with the umbrella, that the only reason that he actually thought about leaving, but he didn't have his EBT card. So he has it now, and then exactly what he did, he left. Okay, so uh, maybe just high drunken text that he wouldn't even mean to actually contact me. That seems reasonable at this point. Yeah, I mean, I don't think a person jokes about that when they go, um, I thought about leaving, but I didn't have my EBT card on me. I don't think a person I would never joke like that with my boyfriend and make him feel uncomfortable like that. Yeah, like if you thought about leaving, you want to leave. It's just some other reason is keeping you here. So I thought it was funny when he said he was on a train and he couldn't text. Oh, you don't want to talk that stuff in front of people into a phone? What does that mean? I do it. I'm on this thing right now because I'm psych. That means I'm psychotic, not I hide things from people. It's just I don't want to get in another fight. But I explained the thing about the Facebook page. So a lot of things have happened that I didn't know about from last year. Like he kept his Facebook page the whole time. I was just blocked off of it. Like I literally thought like internet spies were doing it, and it was him doing it. Um, he never questioned why nobody's ever in the chat. Okay, that's called an internet prison, which I explained many times. He doesn't care about that either. I have voices in my own head and all this stuff. Everyone knows all about me. I've been doing this a long time. So you don't share a faith in Almighty God that I share. So I'm always going to seem crazy to you, and why you would ever want to go out with the person that you think is crazy, I don't know. Um, Probably because you were drunk and high at the time, and just allow yourself that to move on. Um, I was always, everyone knows you can ask at the shelter and stuff. And I think when he got to the shelter, they were sort of bummed because you could tell that he didn't like me. Um, in 2023, he wasn't sober, so it was a totally different thing. You could tell he didn't like me when he got to the shelter, and I think they were bummed out because I was always super happy and excited and stuff, and then you could just tell there was like nothing coming back at all. Really sort of like awkward. I didn't know if he was like locked in or felt uncomfortable because he was sober and stuff, and um, I think he was putting in the effort, yeah, putting in the effort, but it shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that hard. Like when you've never had a sober adult relationship, you don't know that. There might have been a lot of years where him and that other person were just sticking it out because that's what you do. I don't stick it out. That's why I had to get a divorce. I was sticking it out because I had 6 minors. I don't have a reason to stick it out. um, and just keep working on it. When the person doesn't really have a reason, okay, because he's sober and I'm the person that's mentally ill. And there's just not a thing that's ever gonna change that. So, what would we keep working on and stick it out for? Um, wow, she's been out a long time. I'm glad she's having fun though. She texted a long time ago that she was feeling kind of wobbly, so she must have got some energy. She was really looking forward to this field trip, so I hope she had fun. I thought he wanted me to be able to suction him, but I'm not really sure that's true. Um, He seems capable of doing that for himself if he thought it was needed. And also, the police have the ability to do it if he doesn't think it's needed. So I'll just leave that alone. Like I said, I'm not interested in pursuing um, the sexual assault by coercion or rape by coercion. I don't want to have to keep talking about my opinions about it. Um, whether or not the person actually was sort of like conscious of mind of what he was doing. Given some of the vitriol, um, like if he was carrying some sort of a grudge over from 2023, sometimes people will lash out when you say something negative about them or something, or you interfere in their business of collecting money from people or what they're doing with their drug use and stuff. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that seems a little bit far fetched. It's just, I think it's more like he just sort of like, it was just really all fucked up on drugs and alcohol in Plymouth. And then, yeah. Let me think. I still have chicken. I think I have one flat. So I got plenty of food for tonight. I think honestly, he probably wants money. Right? Because you go, okay, so if you're getting a tent and blankets, all right, you're not trying to get back together with me. Okay, and he didn't argue that. Okay, so that's not why you're contacting me. Okay, because he wanted to know how we're gonna meet at Bannet House. We're not gonna meet. I'm leaving the stuff there. I don't know if it'll be there tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know that it will be there tomorrow, but he has multiple appointments there. That's right. I have to text that stuff to him too. I don't. He's gonna have to contact them at some point and give them his telephone number now that he has a working phone, and I won't need to be doing that for him anymore. I think he's capable of doing a lot of things. It's just because he had a wife, he didn't do it. Um, right, because the whole thing about controlling his life and stuff. He told me the other day he wanted someone to do it, but I don't really think that that person is me. Um, right, I'm not going to get into arguments about things that he said and then he says something different. Just that's not needed. It's not until 4:30 his appointment. Right. He's got an appointment at listen to this. One of them's probably supposed to be telehealth. He's got an appointment on Thursday, Friday, and Tuesday, all at Minute Health. So that's a lot of days he has to be there. Um, I don't know which one is his telehealth, but it's not Thursday or Friday. So I think his telehealth is actually next Tuesday. So I have until next Tuesday to give him the hotspot. Um, yeah, I mean, I know he likes to use that when he's sleeping in the stairwell. Again, how does that make any sense? Because I could have gave him that tonight. I know you just go, so whatever you're doing tonight, you've already made plans for yourself and maybe other people, obviously. Right, because you've been gone since last night about 9 o'clock. And the trains were still running. So, right, you just go, and he has a phone and stuff, and he has Facebook. So I would assume he was hanging out with his friends earlier in the day. I don't know, like last night. He probably talked to them or something because how was he only texting me at 10:30 in the morning? And he said he didn't even sleep last night. So, and I'm still in the area. Okay. And then you decided to leave. Great. I know it's just, why don't you listen to your own heart, Brian? If you can, listen to your own heart and your own thoughts. You left because you wanted to leave. I told you to go to a hospital. You didn't want to go to a hospital because you told me you had court. That's what you always say. Your court's not until the 21st, and that you needed clothes for court. Okay. You don't have court until the 21st. It's the 9th, which would have been your wedding anniversary for 2 months. That has no meaning to you. Um, he uses for a while, and he gets rid of all of his Adderall, and then he goes to Gavin and gets more Adderall. I explained it the month before he got sober. I saw exactly what him and his friends do. So he's planning on seeing Nick, and apparently he has to have blood work that proves he's taking his medication with Nick, and then he doesn't see Nick again for what, a month? So if uses all his Adderall, okay, and then he drinks for several days, he goes into Gavin and then gets another prescription. That's what they do. So it's usually not really revolving around court. It revolves around getting more and more and more drugs. So I don't know. I'm not a drug addict, but he was saying that he really didn't want to go back to doing that stuff. So the emotional upset is probably the fact that he can't stay sober. That's just my personal opinion. The only reason he was sober is because he had a person forcing him to be sober. I'm not saying I'm the only person that can keep him sober, but that's the only reason he was sober. Um, None of it was something I did to him. We had several conversations about it. There's actually a camera inside of an ATM. Um, he had the opportunity to hold $300 and something, and he didn't want to. He handed it right back to me, and I put it in the bank. That happened right inside the ATM. He didn't want to hold his EBT card. Okay. He didn't want to make all of these appointments and stuff. He wanted me to do it. He can change his mind, and it appears that that's what he's done. So, just for the record, I don't like being accused of things that I'm not doing. Um, right. I think he would know he had appointments, and so he would just call them, find out when it was. He doesn't keep like a notepad and stuff like I do. So, I guess, let me see. I don't think they have his phone number, but they might. So, when he goes there tomorrow for his eye appointment, hopefully they'll ask him for a phone number. And then he may change his emergency contact again back to his aunt. I would presume since he did that between two hospitals in 2023. So you don't have to have your spouse as your emergency contact, apparently. That's up to you. Let's see. Hopefully he didn't block me on his phone because I'm trying to send him doctor's appointments he has. Yeah, he does this all the time. He's not mentally competent. Minute Health. Nick. It doesn't matter. He can't be responsible for that, but oh, um, 11:30. Well, I got to go back to Florida, so of kin in Florida. So I didn't put the date. Hold on. That's 10. I think most people would agree after the text messages and stuff that that's not a person that's going to be able to provide to me um, being ill and end of life care. Okay, so I guess I wasn't thinking about that too much, but I'm 53 and I have a progressive terminal medical condition. So I'm kind of done hearing about how crazy and bad I am. Yeah, it's a little bit much. Um, Tuesday. Doesn't matter. I know, just don't even start thinking that. No, just a person has to be allowed to get out of a thing he didn't want to be in. I know you just go, now I'm going to Florida all by myself. It's all right. I've been there by myself before. So, anyways, maybe like a day that he doesn't have an appointment, we'll drop the thing off because he doesn't actually need it until Tuesday. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but a person is driving from Foxborough to Quincy and gas costs money, and she's at the brink of getting rid of her truck and stuff. Like it's just not. It's kind of a lot of demands on his part. He was told to pack up his stuff in his backpack. He didn't really have a time limit. So he chose not to bring those things with him, even though clearly it's sort of an upsetting thing. Um, really, the only thing that was on Brian's mind was getting marijuana during that time, and then apparently whatever else he decides to start using. Um, he probably feels that he feels better, but all those text message and stuff, just it's clearly as bad as last night. He probably feels like he feels better though, which he's got to do what he's going to do for his recovery. Like all of those things he always thought about me. And that's a good presentation that, in my opinion, God gave him about what's going on with him that he wouldn't express and deal with. Okay, so just how weird it was. Okay, just how weird it was about giving the money out of the purse and stuff. Like God was explaining to him probably what he's been doing to me. The abuse, what he actually thinks about me, his inner thoughts, causing all that rage, and like I said, the demands for the money and stuff, and then completely saying he's gonna get me kicked out of here tonight, like the shelter and like and stuff. It's just um don't bring me down there with you and stuff. So you just okay, um, right, you just go, okay, so you definitely made a mistake, which is different types of people. And I have a lot of things going on in my life, and you're not really a supportive person for me. I'm sure you probably provide support to others, but you're not really doing that for Mary. So because of your unhappiness with me, you're beginning to make me unhappy, whereas you were making me super happy before. So it's sort of like the feeling is mutual, and that's probably how people break up. And I'm sure there's some sadness there. Um, he doesn't really, he doesn't have to have any positive things with me. That's fine. So those are his appointments. Zola. Oh God, yeah, Jen went through this. Took her a year and a half to get divorced, so hopefully he's not going to do that. He goes to a halfway house. He doesn't really seem like the Joanne type. He likes to just hang out in a room on his phone, apparently. So watches a lot of television and stuff that I explained that to him, and it's got something to do with the differences of our parting of the ways. I was locked in a tower room, as he knew, between the shelter and the tower room. He didn't spend any time in the shelter, so we got to experience a little tiny bit of what I've been going through while he's breezing around using, staying in other people's housing, staying in elderly housing, Colleen's house, all of these people that let him sleep in rooms, bringing him into hotel rooms. None of those people do any of those things for me. I can't get into a halfway house or a sober house. So I don't get the COVID money. He was telling me he was getting paid like every week. I don't get the cash money after going into Gavin. So just different types of people. Television shows I never watched because of our age difference. The whole sort of drug and alcohol mentality, ideas and thoughts about the United States of America and other people, what's going on in the country. Right, if you're cool because you fit in Brockton, and assuming that people in Brockton don't like me because I don't mind my own business somehow. So, I know you're just like, I don't know who you thought you were going out with, but um, that might be her. I have to shut this off.